What's up guys, it's Endymion, and following my Mass Effect Iceberg series, my subscribers voted, and Dragon Age was chosen as the next series for me to do, so here we are. Today I'll be covering the first game in the series, detailing fun facts and Easter eggs you may or may not know about this incredible franchise. So without further ado, let's begin the Dragon Age Origins Iceberg Explained. This one is well known, but did you know that Dragon Age's world is named Thetis, which is an acronym that literally stands for the Dragon Age setting? And it was actually a placeholder name until BioWare found something else they liked, but decided screw it, and they just kept it. So yeah, Dragon Age's world is quite literally called the Dragon Age setting, so the more you know. Dragon Age Origins contains roughly 790,000 words of dialogue. The average novel contains roughly 80 to 100,000 words, which kind of puts into perspective how expansive this game's dialogue and world really is. Kind of insane, really. This one is kinda goofy, but the Grey Warden used for Origins cinematic trailers was created and pushed by one of the senior project managers. What's funny is that the Warden has a striking resemblance to this particular manager, which, I mean, alright, pretty much a self-insert, but there you go. This one is kind of insane, but there was one QA analyst who played Dragon Age Origins a whopping 5,352 times before it even released. His name is Bruce Venn, and he played Origins for 1,957 hours. That's equivalent to 81 full real-world days. Confession time, I have more time than that in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, but this isn't a competition, so moving on. The anti-hero Logain was one of the first characters written for Dragon Age Origins, and in the original draft, David Gator didn't even have the game take place in Ferelden either. Strangely enough, in that same first draft, the Grey Wardens didn't even exist, and neither did the Darkspawn. And if you thought the mages had it bad now, apparently before they were prosecuted even worse, and they changed that. Imagine, though, not having Grey Wardens. I'm glad they exist, because they're such an awesome concept. This one's sort of a bummer, but originally there was roughly 12 origin stories at the start. There was even supposed to be a Luke Skywalker-like origin where players would have their family farm attacked by Darkspawn. Another was an Avar Berserker origin story. Both of these got pretty close to being in the game, but unfortunately they were cut. A peculiar design decision was to include an epilogue to Origins, which detailed how the world of Thetis lived on after the events of the game. Of course, this would kind of pigeonhole any sequel ideas, but in reality, BioWare did this because they were almost certain Origins wouldn't get a sequel, so they felt it would be a one-and-done kind of story, sort of like their previous game, Jade Empire. But Dragon Age Origins defied all expectations and sold like hotcakes, and the rest is history. The game originally was going to be told from the perspective of an old female narrator, who many players would believe to be Flemeth. However, it would be revealed later that the story would actually be told from the perspective of an ancient Morrigan. This idea was scrapped in the end though. Thankfully, this one was kept in the game, but the original plot idea was to have Morrigan have a baby via a dark ritual with the player character, and originally, it would be possible regardless if the Warden was male or female. This idea was altered, of course, but it is still possible to clap Morrigan's cheeks and usher in a new Dark God. I know I did, just saying. Speaking of Morrigan, finding her voice actress actually took way longer than any other character in the game apparently. BioWare would eventually find the exceptional Claudia Black to play Morrigan. Also, Morrigan was one of the first characters designed for this series as well. Origins was in development around the same time as Mass Effect, and while Mass Effect featured a Paragon Renegade system which allowed players to roleplay into a specific style, BioWare deliberately made Origins not have this feature as they didn't want players to choose decisions based on morality-style choices, but instead operate in the gray area between, which I agree with. Personally, I'm glad BioWare did this, and I hope they do morally gray stuff more often in the future. Did you know that Superman exists in the Dragon Age world? There's actually a random event you can witness where a farm couple named John and Marta discover a little boy who crashed near their farm from space. Not only is this a Superman Easter egg, but there's also a Superman Easter egg in Mass Effect 2. So, that's cool. Old school BioWare was notorious for their overtime and having each developer pour their heart and souls into their projects. This drive was sustained by the one drug above all, that being, of course, coffee. BioWare's developers would go through 1,400 cups of coffee a week while developing Dragon Age Origins. That's roughly 72,800 coffees a year, and since Origins was in development for roughly 6 years, that means BioWare drank approximately 436,000 cups of coffee or so during the entire development cycle. Jesus, that's a lot of caffeine, but it was totally worth it. The companion Shale was almost not going to make it into Origins at all, but the lovable golem was thankfully given extra development time. Originally, Shale's model was too big and couldn't fit through doors until BioWare went back and made Shale much smaller, which is why in-game, Shale refers to her previous owner as chiseling her down. Some players might not even know this, but the archdemon in Origins was actually originally the god of beauty, a being known as Earthamiel. I definitely butchered that name. He is considered a being of incredible beauty, but obviously became demented and twisted once the Darkspawn turned him into the archdemon that you fight in Origins. So the archdemon is originally a godly supermodel. I actually didn't even know this when I first played the game, so there you go. This may just be a coincidence or a nice homage, but the Shade Demons in Origins bear a striking resemblance to the Geth from Mass Effect. They both have a single flashlight-like eyeball, and when you see them side by side, the comparison becomes evident. It's likely just an homage between franchises, but it's cool nonetheless. The body models of both male and female characters in Origins are basically the same across every character. When looking at characters like Morrigan or Liliana or say the much older Wynne, you can see that BioWare just uses the same body models regardless of characters because, well, it's convenient. It's sort of similar to how BioWare had to create every alien race in Mass Effect around the human skeleton for animation purposes. Randomly, when you visit camp, your companion Oghren will randomly say ass chabs, which is actually an inside joke relating to lead writer David Gator, who penned the term as a joke that stood for Association of Chair Butt Sufferers, likely to express how much sitting down and writing Gator had to do to make Dragon Age's story work. Bless that man for all his hard work. Did you know in Dragon Age's lore that all dragons are actually female? Males are instead called drakes and they can't grow wings. The difference between a dragon and a high dragon is simply a difference in the maturity and age of the dragon, but they're always female. Interesting. This one you may know or maybe not, but even though they look like dragons, archdemons are in fact not dragons by definition. They are simply disgusting twists of flesh and evil formed into the body to resemble a dragon, but they are in fact not one. That being said, archdemons are still badass as hell. Every age of Thetis' history is called something followed by age. Originally, the time period we play in was supposed to be called the Sun Age. But since the dragons returned, the Chantry decided to call the current age, well, the Dragon Age. And let's be honest, Sun Age Origins doesn't have the same ring to it anyway, so I'm glad BioWare went with that instead. This one is cheeky of BioWare, but did you know that the herb ELFROOT, which you can find as an ingredient in-game, was discovered in 420 Black? Yes, that's right, ELFROOT was discovered on 420. Nice BioWare, very subtle. Even though QUNARI have horns in future games within the series, the reason why Sten doesn't have any is because BioWare didn't have enough time to create alternate helmet models to incorporate horns into their design. So instead, they made up in-lore reasons saying that QUNARI who had no horns either chopped them off to renounce their religion, or hornless QUNARI were seen as destined for greatness, more like destined for laziness. I'm just kidding. Sten should have had horns though, but I understand. And finally, here's a little fact about Dragon Age and, well, me. Dragon Age Origins was the second game I ever played from BioWare, the first being, of course, Mass Effect. It was also the first true dark fantasy RPG I ever played that had branching dialogue choices and romances. Up until this time, all I played was JRPGs mostly, so Dragon Age was definitely a shocker for me in more ways than one. It's also one of the games I've replayed the most. I love it to pieces, and I think to this day, it's still one of the best games I've ever played. And I really hope that one day BioWare remasters this classic so younger generations can experience the magic for themselves. Dragon Age Origins is a masterpiece of dark, heroic fantasy epics and brutal, mature storytelling. It truly is a video game classic. Well guys, that's the video on Dragon Age Origins. Next up will be Dragon Age 2, followed by Inquisition. Let me know what you think, tell me any facts you know that I didn't list, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the things the algorithm loves. Thank you, it gives my life meaning. Thanks to my patrons for the support. My Patreon link is in the description box below, and I'm Endymion. Apologies for the slight delay of this video. I currently have the Megatron variant of the Plague. Don't worry, I'm totally fine, and I'm already mostly over it already, but if my voice sounds a little bit strained, that's why. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, thanks for the support, and I'll see you in the next one.